Nobody looks like they're coming out.
Towering light heavyweight finisher Dominic Reyes has never tasted defeat.
There is a new force to be reckoned with at 205 pounds.
And in this division, all winning streaks lead to the greatest fighter of all time.
It's in my lane. If you want to be a champ, you want to be a winner, go do some runs.
Light heavyweight champion John Jones.
I'd like to go there. I feel that'd be fun. I could go and see some. I might do that. I don't think I'd want to. Oh, I actually went to with Anthony in Vegas. We walked out like Casey and Esther. I feel bad. It's the darkest place ever. I feel it where the rules. I feel so unsafe.
The co-main event presents another battle. Who's dominated the division unlike anyone else.
Well, since the UFC opened the 125-pound flyweight division, many expected this to be a foregone conclusion, and Valentina proved them all right.
Undefeated 125 pounds, champion Valentina Shevchenko.
She's not just one of the best women fighters, she's one of the best fighters.
Has made a career of shock on cards.
You can expect something, but when you feel the power, it's totally different.
On February 8th, she will face number one contender, Caitlin who stands confident in the face of an extraordinary challenge.
No matter how I need to win, I'm going to find that way and I'm going to be the UFC champion. I want that title shot now. I want that shot.
Step inside the lives of champions and contenders. Stay prepared to make history in Houston, Texas. This is UFC 247. Countdown. For over a decade, the world's best mixed martial artist is going to work in Albuquerque, New Mexico. Although imperfect by nature, UFC light heavyweight champion John Jones has been nothing but sure since I knew him. Countless titles and memories brought on by hard work and iconic boxing counterpart.
I got a lot of people doing it.
Ultimately, he's a big inspiration to me. He's just been a creative sports icon. He changed all the sports.
Still, yes.
I keep him around.
Yeah, exactly.
Tina. First to say I'm the greatest. People think of being the greatest, you think of Muhammad Ali. That alone is an inspiring thing.
Yeah, I mean, that's okay.
One of the records where, you know,
Like, I'm having to bring my
last
laptop.
14 years ago, they know the chance of winning this person.
I don't know. To be honest, I kind of bored, which I can totally understand. Like I can see how, like,
Last one on right here. That's the
yeah, man, I was like,
Great sports conversation.
yeah, doing this shit.
Like any great sport, it's best told from the beginning.
So, like, take this job.
The story of John Jones as UFC champion all started in New Jersey on March 19th, 2011.
Remember what I told you about the dog?
champion and Olympian, two-time United States Olympic wrestler. Huge respect for John Jones.
The promotion to the best light heavyweights in the world.
He's just been smashed and spread. You just see
In 2019, there was something no one left. So middleweights began moving up to light heavyweight to test their mark against the greatest.
Since moving up to light heavyweight, Anthony Smith has been stellar.
We've seen a lot of big championship upsets in UFC history. Anthony Smith looking to show like here tonight.
John's just getting up first over and over again. John's been dictating the pace of wrestling. Smith's waiting. What's going on right now? He's realizing why John Jones does light heavyweight all the time. Now you have to ask the question, who's next? Thiago Santos can go across into light heavyweight living has
Nice man of body by Jones.
Spinning back kick from behind by John.
And Jones hasn't shown it. Seen all that pace like he had those 3 strikes that landed.
Nice kick. Front kick to the body. John starting to beat him up.
After narrowly fending off the first crop of former middleweights, the wave of 185-pound crossovers continued.
Making his light heavyweight debut tonight, who thought compete like this would be his division?
And here he is, shocking the supersized light heavyweight contender tonight.
With each looking for their own shot at the 205-pound champion.
This is a Northeastern showcase for one of the best to ever do it. Chris Weidman, the 4th UFC middleweight champion. He is 5-0 in UFC main events, and he's got a new outlook on life here at 205 pounds.
His move to 205 has rejuvenated him. And tonight he feels like he's going to be as good as he's ever been.
For Chris Weidman, a huge opportunity to immediately vault himself into the light heavyweight division's top 5. He said this whole training camp has been rooted in grappling and defense. Oh, really not that for Reyes. Weidman down!
On a cool autumn night last fall in Boston, the true light heavyweight made his presence known.
Dominic Reyes, decisive as ever tonight!
At 6 foot 4 inches, Dominic Reyes is no middleweight transplant,
Makes it look easy.
but an imposing 205-pound force he reckoned with. Hails from the Victor Valley region of Southern California, where football is a way of life. Long before combat sports, the Reyes brothers became local sports stars at Hesperia High School.
This is the first time I'm back on this track since I graduated back in 08. Man, freaking so many memories. They're always scrambles.
We always have the debate, what team was better? And I say my team was better because we were undefeated.
They say their team's better. They think they're better. I'm gonna go to my favorite seat. Best seat in the house. You know when the sun sets on this field? It's so weird to come back. These are all things I kind of forgot about. Coming back, breathe, remembering all that began.
SUNY rivals Albany and Stony Brook took to the field Saturday in the opening round of the FCS playoffs at Lamar Stadium.
My dream was to play in the NFL. Just like every kid that steps on every football field and all throughout America. Just my dream, I got closer than most people.
And all of a sudden, the Seawolves have erased an 18-point deficit to lead by 3.
I had a full-ride scholarship. I started for 4 years in college.
Watch as the play of the season unfolds. The
That's it. That's the bottom line. Somebody, decided I wasn't good enough, and I was it. I didn't have control of my destiny. I have all the control now. If you want something in MMA, you go out and you literally take it.
With NFL dreams cast aside, Reyes now owns his own fitness facility. But the endeavor is going to be a compliment to his true passion. A very successful career in mixed martial arts. One where his natural athletic abilities for football translated quite well.
Keep your eye on Dominic Reyes at light heavyweight.
Playing TV, I live in space. And I understand movement.
Reyes presses forward.
Receivers right now, you have to make a decision right now where he's going to score. And it has to be right decision.
Goodness, it's over. This man came in with all the hype in the world and lives into it and then some.
Yeah, angles, ranges.
He has really adapted very quickly to MMA. His striking is outstanding. He's got great submission skills.
There's the tap.
His ability to move in and out, side to side.
With the uppercut now, kicks to the top.
He's very technical and fluid. He's a real hot prospect.
Drops open for another first-round finish.
Tall, fast, powerful.
You just take a look at that guy, and if he lays out a big straight punch, man, he's gonna damage you.
Dangerous, man.
Would hate to get cracked by that guy in the backfield. Now he's cracking people in the UFC.
It's time to take him, Jones.
Reyes is well known for his swag, true respect to February 8th tennis against the one and only John Bones Jones.
I'm super dangerous. Jones is super dangerous. We're going to collide in the really octagon. We're going to see who's more dangerous.
One of the first known super camps of mixed martial arts was the Jackson Wing Academy in Albuquerque, which is responsible for numerous UFC champions. The most notable beneficiary of this gym's backup has been reigning light heavyweight king John Jones, and his team is stronger today than ever before. With a stable of local coaches and incoming specialists like nutrition expert Lou Giovanni.
I've been blessed to be in a lot of camps. I've never seen a team, work together the way that this team works. Mentally, physically, emotionally. It's unbelievable and it's humbling to be around. I gotta pinch myself every once in a while. So let's just take this down, John, and then beat it up.
I'm too machine.
Those are pretty.
If you're around Team Jones, you'll notice a lot of prayer.
Father, thank you for gathering us here, Lord. We just ask that you continue to bless this team, Lord, and continue to give us the wisdom and the strength, Lord.
And I've noticed since we started praying as a unit, our vibe as a unit has gotten so much stronger.
Truly, Lord, in Jesus' precious name. Amen.
Amen. All right. Get real men to get in a circle, hold hands, look each other in the eyes for a moment, and just connect on a different level.
So let's start with schedule. Make sure we're ready for this week and then watch tape. Busy this week, you've got Tuesday morning, Wednesday morning, Thursday morning.
It's given us so much strength as a program. It took us from being a team to more of a family.
From mind to body, and from planning to execution. This team's formula for championship level success success has withstood the test of time.
John's career's been evolving, and I think that there's been a lot of wonderful moments in his career because he has the right people around him.
Hey guys, shout out to my team.
And he's still going.
This is our 14th world title, and it's going back to Albuquerque, New Mexico.
From Johnny Bones, it's been all about we, not I. That is a closely knit team. My Michael John and Brandon Gibson right there. The path to light heavyweight gold still goes through Albuquerque, New Mexico. We've been doing this for a long time, but the more and more respect around each other, the better we are.
See what this show says? This is Albuquerque, baby. This team is Albuquerque.
This Jackson Wing Gym is a special place.
I'm a big fan of looking at yourself as being something ordinary. And when you focus your ideas and do extraordinary things.
I'm so grateful for the team guys I have in my life. I owe this win to them.
Teamwork, collaboration, communication.
Probably hold on to it in case somebody else comes.
Look around, you'll see what I believe is the greatest mixed martial arts program in the world's history.
16, 17, 18, 19.
To the finals, ladies and gentlemen, you guys ready for it? You're good. A lot of normal guys that are doing extraordinary things. Relationship, morale is everything. And I'm really fortunate and blessed to have such great leaders in my life.
Oh, yeah, we finally started. Yeah, sorry, that was good. Yeah, seems like everybody's in this place.
Take a short drive outside the sprawling county of Los Angeles, California, and you will encounter a vast expanse of desert. The first arid town beyond LA's lush cityscape is Hesperia. Where John Jones' next opponent, Dominic Reyes, came of age.
Some gritty plays, man. What soft animal comes out of the desert? Nothing. You gotta be tough to live here. I'm born and raised here. And I think that has a lot to do with why I am where I am today. It's a tough culture here.
This local culture pays no mind to the weak. And Reyes has been hardened from day one by the first wrestling coach he's ever had. A highly respected veteran with UFC championship experience.
Joe Stevenson is in the tank right here. He's a very stern test for BJ Penn. But I'm a big Alex fan. He has all the potential in the world. It's all about Stevenson over the motion. Sometimes he needs to fight a lot more than you do if you win a fight.
I got to fight for the title. I just don't want people to make the same mistakes I made. You know, a lot of times people make it and then they forgot about it. Or they get distracted and then start losing fights. Dominic, he has been able to be level-headed, and that's all you can ask for.
In preparation for the 5-round title bout with John Jones, Stevenson places Reyes in a humble sparring session. One known in combat sports as the short technique.
You're having a fresh guy rotate on you every minute. It's a different style, a different person. You can't get any reads. You have to make short adjustments right then and there. Okay.
It's designed to put you in crappy positions so that when you're in those crappy positions in the fight, it messes with your psyche. It makes you feel like you're not enough every time. And it's good though. It keeps you sharp. Mental toughness is the name of the game.
best athletes to ever represent the Hesperia High School Scorpions. The Reyes brothers. Wrestling stand outstanding, along with UFC light heavyweight title challenger Donovan. Continue disappointing.
Yeah, right?
Me and my brother would smash each other into that panel right there all the time. He would try to put me into it to try to get me out of practice. It was awesome.
Here you go. Come on. Come on. Come on.
Looking back on it, that set the groundwork for what I'm doing now.
Let's go. Up jogging. Up jogging. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go.
I've not had a season in my life where I didn't play sports. Really pushing it and being the best on the team. All those skills I obtained in all the other sports, you know, the hand-eye coordination in baseball, toughest curveball on campus, the toughness in wrestling, the balance in wrestling. I can now use all those skills and all those abilities in fighting.
Touches go.
And I don't think John ever fought anyone with my sports IQ.
Pick it up.
He's fought wrestlers, he's fought strikers, but never athletes.
3, 2, 1. Time for cover.
They're just going to the bathroom. They're just going to the bathroom. I just
UFC light heavyweight champion John Jones is preparing for his 15th consecutive title fight. He always studies his opponents in extraordinary detail. At times, he understands his adversaries on a deeper level than they may expect.
I don't really like the guy Dominic, to be honest with you. He's always had it all. You know, he's always been the star. He's always been the jock. He's always been the cool kid. He has his degrees. He thinks he's smarter than people. He thinks he's more athletic than people. And he's convinced himself that, you know, these common traits that we know athletes are somehow different. Newsflash, raw, elite level athletes here. Just warming up. But at the same time, I think we all know for a fact he isn't also as athletic as me.
The octagon is a crucible for showcasing athletic ability. Where for years, Jones has put on a magnificent display.
Jones has got real unorthodox striking. Beautiful takedown. Jones likes what he's doing. He's got outstanding wrestling, great technique, great athleticism. Oh, my! The distance he throws kicks, and you can't hit him. Pretty substantial. John's left leg is so dynamic. Another example of how crazy and unpredictable John Jones is. And another elbow.
The most perplexing enigma in sports history.
That is a brilliant move.
It's never deciphered.
That's what he's doing. He's switching up the kicks. He goes low, he goes high, he goes knee, he goes elbow. Different looks always, and each strike sets up the next one.
But oncoming challengers continue to exert their confidence.
Before I was booked to fight John, I would watch his fights just as a fan.
John showed with forward too here. Well, side to side, switching stance. Alex is on him right now, keeping the pace the way he needs to, keeping the pressure.
I didn't really delve into his like little techniques or his mistakes or everything that was going on. I would just watch and enjoy the fights.
2 minutes gone by here in round one. Oh, lead elbow from Jones lands.
And a nice front kick to the body as well.
I think he's one of the greatest ever for a reason. I watch his film and then that becomes more and more evident.
Good entry there by Jones. He gets his first takedown.
It also becomes more and more evident that he is just a man.
John is not enjoying going backwards constantly like this.
Just like any of us, man. Just a man. And there's many ways to meet him.
Okay.
And I'm here to make that happen.
Yeah. So I'm gonna have to
You want to watch Bill? Before I realize how much fun this is going to be. This is going to be fun.
Dominic, 2.5 years from UFC debut to now fighting the man that makes it.
John Jones is the greatest fighter of all time. No one's ever been able to dominate like that.
Oh, H-Town, Houston, Texas. What's going on? Thank you all for coming out. My name is John Anik. We appreciate every last one of you making some time to get over here on Wednesday. Sorry the athletes were a little bit delayed, but we will not delay this any further. First up, I am pleased to welcome to the stage, this is a 12-fight UFC veteran, kind of built like a backyard shed, a flag bearer for Swedish mixed martial arts who is making his UFC heavyweight debut here on Saturday night. Please welcome the sledgehammer, Ilir Latifi. What's up, big man? Nice to see you. Thank you. All right, introducing now the #1 contender for the UFC flyweight title. She will look to make history by dethroning one of the best pound-for-pound fighters in the world today with wins over Rene Aldana, Alexis Davis, and JoJo Calderwood. Please welcome the #1 contender, blonde fighter, Katlyn Chookagian. All right, and now, undefeated, undaunted, and undeterred, this man is riding the momentum of his devastating knockout of UFC legend Chris Weidman. With all the self-belief of a champion, he hopes to parlay his skills and confidence into a UFC world title Saturday night. Please welcome the Devastator, Dominic Reyes. Number 24 is in the building. All right, so as many of you know, we have been soliciting fan questions over the last week or so we're going to get to some of those fan questions, and then we will open it up to the media. Time permitting, we'll have some photo opportunities for the fans after the fact, if you just bear with me as I get through to this first question. All right, let us start with Mr. Latifi on the end. It's good to see you, man. This is going to be a question for all three of you guys. So you're the underdog here against Derek Lewis on Saturday night. The fan, Jake Irish MMA, wants to know, do you prefer being the underdog or the betting favorite in a fight?
Well, to be honest, I've been an underdog all my life. You know, since I started in the UFC, I started fighting in the 205 division. Everybody thought I was too small for that weight, and everybody was saying go down to 185. And, you know, I proved a lot of people wrong. And Saturday, let's see. And you know, now I went up to the heavyweight division, you know, and I'm fighting a tough opponent, but I love the challenge, and I have no problem being the underdog, you know.
Katlyn, congrats on the title fight. Good to have you here in Houston. I saw you at the Rockets game last night. Well represented there. So you've been a favorite for a lot of your UFC fights. That is not the case on Saturday. Any preference for you either way?
Yeah, most of my fights I've been a favorite. I think if I was an underdog, it was super close. But yeah, it doesn't make a difference to me. You know, I think I do better with the higher level opponents I fight. I perform better, so I'm excited for this fight and no pressure.
We're excited to see what you can do with the opportunity. Let's hear it. Yeah, Dom, good to see you, my man. -185 betting favorite against Chris Weidman in Boston in October. Betting underdog this weekend. Do you have any preference, favorite or dog?
I've actually been the favorite in every fight in my UFC career.
I believe
so far. But this is the first time I'm an underdog, and for me, I get to just go out there and be free, man. I get to go full speed. I got nothing to lose. I mean, I don't see anything better than that.
No argument here. All right, next up here at MMA Tug with 2 Gs. This one for Ilir Latifi. With no weight cut, will we see a better and more durable fighter moving forward?
You know, last 3 fights was a hard time cutting weight, so this training camp, I feel great in fighting it, preparing in this division, and 100% see a better fighter.
Hearing these kids in the background kind of makes me feel like at home. I left to get away from them. No. All right, next up, this one from SXLL and then a bunch of Ys. It's for Dominic Reyes. How do you plan to exploit John's poor defensive and offensive boxing?
It's no secret that John isn't the best boxer in the UFC. He's a great kickboxer. He has great range. He uses his kicks very well, but he's not the best boxer. And I intend to exploit that. I think my boxing is probably the best in the division, and with footwork and fearlessness, I'll get in there and put these hands on him.
Caitlin, do you think style-wise this will be your most challenging fight to date?
I don't necessarily think style-wise. I think Valentina is definitely my toughest opponent that I faced. She has definitely the most experience, but style-wise, I mean, I guess I see everything in my training. I train with a lot of professionals that are in the UFC, have been in the UFC for years and years. So to me, I kind of train with the best of the best. I train with the best jiu-jitsu people in the world. I go to Gleason's Boxing. I train with world champion boxers all the time. So, she does everything, but I see that all the time in training.
Right.
But as far as in the actual fight, she's definitely my toughest opponent yet.
And the same question for you, Dominic. This is from Jesse_Regina. Do you see John as style-wise your most challenging fight to date?
Well, absolutely. It's John Jones, man. I mean, he hasn't been the king for as long as he has for no reason. Style-wise, it's a very, very tough matchup. But I'm ready for the challenge, man.
All right, appreciate the fan submissions. We will now open it up to the assembled media. We appreciate every last one of you coming out here on a Wednesday. Do we have a microphone circulating for the esteemed members of the press?
John, we got.
All right, fire away.
Yeah. For Dominic, I want to ask you, I mean, when you look at John's fights and you see the wins that he's had, do you see like a commonality among all the opponents? I mean, is there a mistake that everybody has made or most people have made against him?
I think the most common mistakes all his opponents make is they let doubt creep in. They let the John Jones monster get in their heads, and they start doubting themselves within the fight, and then he takes over. And then once he takes over, you're not coming back.
And as you were kind of putting together a game plan, I mean, obviously we've seen what he's accomplished and how great his record is. I mean, do you see a real weakness in his game that you feel like you can exploit, or is it a matter of, just having to go out there and fight a perfect fight to beat this guy?
It's a little bit of both. There's holes in everybody's game. I can't exactly tell you exactly what my game plan is, but there are holes. And it's a combination of watching everybody fight him, and it's kind of putting everything together. He has so much film on him, and I'm able to get that film, break it all down, figure out all the probabilities, all the statistics on his fights, and put it together. But at the same time, I got to be the best version of myself, and I have to fight a near perfect fight as well. Nobody's perfect, but I got to be close.
Nice. And I guess maybe outside of game plans and style and training, what's the biggest piece of advice Joe Stevenson has given you?
Believe in yourself, kid.
Fair enough. Thanks, Tom. Kate, I kind of want to ask you a similar question. I mean, you're both facing very dominant champions, of course. So when you watch her fights back, I mean, do you see a commonality that opponents have made, the mistakes that they've made when they've gotten in there?
Yeah, I mean, pretty similar to what Dominic said. Each person, is different styles. So I kind of look at them and see how their fight went with her. Some of them, a lot have completely different styles than me, so it's a little bit hard to tell. But yeah, I break down some of the fights in my own head, and then before I say what I feel, my coaches break them down and tell me what they say. So we kind of go back and forth, and I like to kind of make my own ideas before I hear their ideas. And together we just kind of make a game plan, and I trust everything they say, and I believe in my abilities and what I'm capable of. And I think with those two, with the game plan and my abilities combined, I think that I'm pretty confident.
Right. Certainly the biggest fight of your life. I'm curious, like, what's one change, one addition, one thing that was new this time around that you hadn't done before that you feel like is really going to be a key to you winning?
I would say that my last couple fights, I kind of made a couple little changes. I've been sparring a lot more. For me, I know a lot of fighters are tending to veer away from sparring, but for me, I feel like I learn the best if I actually spar. If I hit the mitts and drill things, everyone can do that perfect, but getting the reps in and sparring is kind of, for me, how I learn. So in my last couple fights, I've been sparring a lot more than normal. I used to spar like 3 days a week. Now I'm sparring 5 days a week. But that's kind of what change I made in the last couple fights, but definitely kept that going for this fight, for sure.
Thank you, Caleb. And then for Alir, if I could, I'm sure with no weight cut, you're enjoying this fight week a little bit more than most. Is this move to heavyweight certainly permanent? I mean, do you know this will be the rest of your career, or do you feel there's kind of a wait and see with how things go on Saturday?
Right now, this is where I feel comfortable fighting in heavyweight, but you never know in the future, you know. Maybe I'll go down again. So I'm open to fighting in both divisions.
Nice. And let me ask, with you being at heavyweight, do you think it'll affect the type of fighter you are, the type of game you can implement? I mean, your power has always been a big thing, but moving up to heavyweight, do you feel like your game plan will be more on speed or, you know, tactics like that?
Of course, it's a different kind of way fighting 205 to a heavyweight. You just have to like adapt in the right way, so you don't miss the positive things you have from fighting in the light heavyweight. Of course, my speed is something that I'm gonna use in the heavyweight division. So putting on too much weight is not good either, you know. So it's a hard balance, you know, and it's something that you have to find a good way to balance.
John Morgan, thank you very much. Any other brave souls out there? Mark Raimondi.
First for Dominic, Anthony Smith was on Ariel's show on Monday talking about how he felt like John Jones tried to play mind games with him during fight week when he fought him, and everything has to be kind of on like Jones's schedule. Have you felt that at all now that you're here in Houston? Do you feel like that Jones is trying to play mind games with you?
No. I mean, I do my things on my schedule. This is my fight, so Jones can't touch me.
And then for Caitlin, I noticed you're wearing an interesting fashion sneakers. What happened? What happened over here?
Limited edition.
It's a good style.
Thank you.
Were they Nikes?
Maybe.
A lot of people, Caitlin, have talked to Dom and asked him about John Jones, and Dom has said a few things like, you can't let the fact that you're going up against someone as good as John Jones affect you going into the fight, right? You can't let it get into your head. Are they cutting my mic? Are you feeling the same thing about Shevchenko? Do you feel like people have kind of almost defeated themselves before they stepped into the octagon against her?
Yeah, I absolutely did. And, you know, when I watched her fights when they were actually happening, I didn't notice. But going back and, you know, when this fight got definitely signed and I was watching those fights, I kind of noticed the demeanor in some of the opponents' fights compared to when they fight other people. And they did really well. And I think they went into the fight just trying to get through the fight and not really to win. I think it's different to get through a fight, and to win is a totally different mindset. And I think that some of them definitely went into it, you know, a little defeated before and just trying to perform as good as they can, but, you know, a little bit safe and you know, and just trying to be careful, but not necessarily go in there full 100% confidence that they can win.
The fights that were tougher for her, is there anything that you can take from those fights that you can possibly apply on Saturday? And is she as good as people say, do you think, just from watching her film and everything?
Yeah, I mean, Valentina is definitely very good, and that's why she's the champ for a reason, and that's why, you know, everyone knows who she is. But, you know, I think, like, when she had her amazing head kick knockout, everyone saw that and it was like, she's such a killer, and she is very good, but most of her fights were decisions. So it's kind of like, which makes it great for me because there's a lot of rounds to study. She's had a lot of 5-round decision fights, so more tape for me to study and look and see how she does against different opponents. But you know, I think when a fighter has a crazy knockout, they always expect that for the next fight. But you got to look at not just the highlight reel, the whole fights and everything.
And then just for Alir, so how bad were some of those weight cuts recently down to 205?
Well, I cut around 35 pounds so was pretty big weight cuts, you know, and yeah, I've done that enough, so it's pretty nice, you know, coming fight week and being able to eat good food and stuff. I'm not used to that, so yeah, it's very different.
So when you fought at 205, like how much did you weigh coming into the week, like on a Tuesday?
Well, yeah, I don't know right now, but maybe add 20 pounds.
So are you much happier right now on a Wednesday?
Right now I'm feeling good, yeah.
Thank you, guys.
Dominic, right here, up here. How do you plan on displaying the mama mentality that Kobe Bryant left us before he left this earth and displayed it Saturday on this big stage in the biggest fight of your career?
I'm chasing greatness, man, and I believe in myself more than anybody could believe in me. You know, it's about me. It's about the hard work I did. The Mamba mentality comes from the hard work I've done in this camp. You know, I'm ready to go. The work I've done has been done. Now I just got to believe, and I believe. Oh man, I believe. I can't wait, man.
Do you think to shock the world, we're not going to make this an MMA fight? You just got to take chances and do some stuff that nobody's done to John, even risk being on the wrong end of the knockout, but to put him into comfortable positions to shock the world? Because it seems like people turn into sparring partners when they fight him. It's kind of same too for Caitlin. What do you have to do to keep from being sparring partners with these great fighters that y'all fighting on Saturday?
No, I agree with that statement. Absolutely. A lot of people end up turning into a sparring match. I'm willing to go in there and get knocked out if I have to. I mean, you got to put yourself in danger. It's the biggest risk, makes the biggest reward. So I'm ready to go out there and throw down, man. I'm ready to bleed as much as necessary.
Same for Caitlin.
Yeah, I mean, you know, I think like you said, everyone just goes in there and sparring partners. I think when there's a dominant champ, then everyone goes in there and just tries to play their game. And I think the most important part is to go in there and for me and just play my game.
And does it bother you the fact that there's perceptions out there that it's Valentina and everybody else, and you're kind of like with everybody else? Is that extra motivation? Because it's like that for the whole division.
I mean, I've been motivated, you know, my whole career, so I don't need other people to tell me stuff or say stuff for extra motivation. But, you know, that's just how the game is. And, you know, it's not up to me to sit here and tell you guys what I'm going to do. It's up to me to show you guys on Saturday.
And my last question is for Lear. How excited are you to deal with the Houston people? I'm from Dallas, but I know Houston people are going to show up and show out for Black Beast.
Well, you know, I have a lot of respect for Texas and Dallas and Houston and all the people here. I've been around. I know the American people from here are very proud. And, you know, it's a big honor to be here fighting. You know, I'm fighting Derek. He's a hometown boy. I have a lot of respect for him. Fighting him, it's a big challenge. So we're going to put on a show on Saturday.
Dominic, right here. During the countdown, they showed you on a bike watching John Jones, like in his fights. But I'm curious, even before you were booked to fight him, between fights, how closely were you studying John Jones for a possible future fight?
So, as I've come up through my UFC ranks, I've kept an eye on John, but I haven't exactly studied him like this. I'm focused on my next task at hand. And in order to get to the top, you got to focus on the next step in front of you. So I've been focusing on those steps. I can see the top, but I'm focused on what I got to do. And that's what I've been doing.
And then after your knockout of Chris Weidman, you tweeted like southpaw precision and like a gif of the knockout. And since watching John Jones' last fight, he hasn't really fought a lot of straightforward southpaws, a lot of switches. I think Ovince St. Preux and Lyoto Machida, and maybe had not his best performance into those outside of the choke. So I'm curious, is facing a southpaw a kryptonite of John Jones?
I'm not. We'll find out on Saturday, man. I'm a true southpaw, so we got that. I got this left hand with me right here, and we'll see what happens.
Anybody else? Last call, Mike Baum, what do you got?
This is for Dominic and Caitlin. Obviously, you guys both very confident going in there against dominant champions. Is it your expectations that if you win these fights, there's going to be immediate rematches, or do you think you win so convincingly that that's not something that comes up? Dom, you can go first.
He definitely deserves a rematch after I beat him. I mean...
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. I think anytime there's a dominant champ and they lose, I feel like they deserve that. So yeah, I'll give Valentina a rematch.
All right, any last takers? We good, Lene? Yeah, all right. Well, thank you all very much for coming out, fans and media. Dominic Reyes, Caitlin Chukagin, Alir Latifi might have a few minutes to take some photos, and then we'll bring the next athletes out. Thank you all very much.
or solitary in the UFC's octagon.
Is there a spike there?
For those whose fulfillment is how it counts, fate is theirs to determine. Victory only theirs to take. But for those who consistently come out on top, their shot at the UFC title over time becomes undelayed.
Winning and everything. Win, you'll have everything you ever wanted. And to be the best of all time, this is what I want.
Towering light heavyweight finisher Dominic Reyes has never tasted defeat.
There is a new force to be reckoned with at 205 pounds.
This condition already steps into the greatest fighter of all time.
I think they're going to have a problem. I want to make sure they have it easier to grab the microphone. So I don't want them to have to struggle. So you're not going to notice sit down. Well, we'll do back under, but they're not going to stay on both of them. Is this one okay? That's like, are they
Yeah, you said just
is that one?
yeah, that's okay.
Well, at least that's that.
Are you putting it through, not over?
You just go like this. Then I'll take them out because they don't know how to do it. Okay.
The world's best mixed martial artist is going to Albuquerque, New Mexico. Although a perfect combination, UFC light heavyweight champion John Jones has been nothing but sheer praise inside the octagon. Countless titles have been won through performances, while not by hard work, but the influence of an iconic boxing counterpart.
Ali, he's a big inspiration to me. He's a very courageous person, and I feel like he changed all the sports.
Yes.
I keep him around with his vision. It's a little bit of a lot of attraction.
I think we're fine.
I see us in the universe.
You see the white?
Eventually,
We have time for the white. Where's the white? Go back a little bit.
this is the first to say I'm the greatest, you know. If you think of being the greatest, you think of Muhammad Ali. That alone is inspiring.
Is this locked? No. This one does it? Front or back? Yeah. Yeah. Is that one locked?
As a fighter, when I have
Where's the
records
softest
where,
one?
you know, people know they're going to beat it. Guys who are teenagers, I think they have no chance of beating this person. How long have records like that?
That's me.
I'm one of those records. The greatest of all time conversation. It's going to be rich conversation. It's going to be.
Like any great story, it's best told from the beginning. The story of John Jones as UFC champion. All started in New Jersey. Jones has been winged on Sunday.
He's incredibly gifted, amazingly talented young man.
He took down the living legend.
John has destroyed Quick Pancakes Jackson in the Virginia. Rashad Evans, John's been beating every Monday over the front of him.
Every promising challenge.
Alexander Gustafsson, John Jones is not willing to lose. Over to Shiro. Incredible performance by the champion.
The two-time United States Olympic wrestler.
Promotion to the best light heavyweights in the real world. They all fought one by one. In 2019, there was something going on. Some middleweights together in the men's light heavyweight to test their against the goats.
Since moving up to light heavyweight, the elixir has been stellar.
We've seen a lot of big championship upsets in UFC history. Anthony Smith looking to try and your title.
After narrowly fending off the first crop of former middleweights, the wave of 185-pound crossovers continued. Each looking for their own shot at the 205-pound champion.
This is a Northeastern showcase. One of the best to ever do it. Chris Weidman, former UFC heavyweight champion. He is 5-0 in UFC main events, and he's got a different profile at 205 pounds. For Chris Weidman, a huge opportunity to immediately find himself into the light heavyweight division's top 5. He said this whole training camp has been rooted in grappling and taking
Nicole eliminated last fall in Boston. Holy smokes! A true light heavyweight in his presence. At 6'4" Dominic Reyes is a middleweight transfer.
makes it look easy.
But an imposed 205-pound force on the record. He hails from the Victor Valley region of Southern California, where football is about life. Long before combat sports, the Reyes brothers became local sports stars at Escambia High School.
This is the first time I'm back on this track since I graduated back in the weight. Man, freaking so many memories. Remember when we smacked each other all the
There's always something to debate. What team was better? I said my team was better because we were competing.
They say their team is better. Look at my favorite seat. Best seat in the house. You know where the sun sets on this field? It's so weird looking back on it because these are all things that I kind of felt. Coming back is like dream. Some people in MMA, you go out and you literally take it.
If NFL brings Kansas Reyes known as some biggest facility. King David is only a couple church. A very successful career against martial arts. One whose natural athletic abilities can quickly translate quite
ranges. He is really adapting very quickly to MMA. His striking is outstanding. He's got good submission skills. There's the tap. His ability to move is so high. Takes to the top. He's very technical and good. You can get a lot from the drop zone. Finish.
Tall, fast, powerful.
One of the first known super camps of mixed martial arts was the Jackson Wink Academy in Albuquerque, which is responsible for numerous UFC champions. The most notable beneficiary of this just athlete has been reigning light heavyweight king John Jones, and his team is stronger today than ever before. With a stable of local coaches and incoming specialists like nutritionist Luke Giordano.
I've been blessed to be in a lot of camps. I've never seen a team, work together the way that this team works. Mentally, physically, emotionally. It's unbelievable. It's humbling to be around. I'm gonna pinch myself every once in a while. So it's just taking a step. I didn't need to be up.
Fights machine.
If you're around team films, you know it's
So start the schedule real quick. Make sure we're good for this week and we'll watch TV. Easy this week, you got Tuesday morning, Wednesday morning.
This is giving us much better than a program. It's us bringing teams and
From mind to body, and from planning to execution. This team's formula for championship level success is one step at the test of time.
John's career has been evolving, and I think that there's been a lot of wonderful moments in his career because he has the right people around him. And he's still going. This is our 14th long time, and it's going to make the Albuquerque the best one.
yourself is being smart warrior. Focus your ideas to your extraordinary goals.
I'm so grateful for the team of guys I had in my life. I owe this win to them.
Proof that teamwork, collaboration, and communication are really one, two, three. One, two, three. One, two, three. If you look around, you'll see what I believe is the greatest mixed martial arts program in world history. 6, 7, 8, 9. But normal guys that are doing extraordinary things. The relationship, morals, everything. I really unfortunately blessed and access to people.
Take a short drive outside the sprawling town of Los Angeles, California, and you will encounter a vast expanse of desert. The first arid town in the area's lush cityscape is Hispania, where John Jones' next opponent, the advantage.
It's a pretty place. What soft animal comes out of there? Nothing. We are tough to live here. I'm born and raised here. And I think that has a lot to do with why I'm where I am today. It's tough culture.
This local culture is no mind to the weak. And Reyes has been hardened from day one when the first wrestling coach he's ever had. A highly respected veteran with UFC championship experience.
I get to fight for the title. I just don't want people to make the same mistakes I made. You know, a lot of times people make it and then they forgot about it. Or they get distracted and then start losing fights. Dominic, he's been able to be level-headed, and that's all you can ask for.
In preparation for the 5-round title bout with John Jones, Stevenson places Reyes in a humble sparring session. One known in combat sports as the short.
Having a fresh guy rotate on you every minute is a different style, different person. You can't get any reads. You have to make short adjustments right then and there. Rotate.
It's designed to put you in crappy positions so that when you're in those crappy positions in the fight, there's no one. It messes with your psyche. It makes you feel like you're not enough every time. And it's good though. It keeps you sharp. Mental toughness is the name of the game.
of the best athletes to ever represent the Hesperia High School Scorpions. The greatest others. The wrestling stand outstanding, along with UFC light heavyweight title challenger Dominic. Continue to support the program.
Me and my brother would smash each other into that panel right there all the time. He would try to put me into it to try to get me out of practice. It was awesome. Here you go. Come on. Come on. Come on. Looking back on it, that set the groundwork for what I'm doing now. Let's go. I'm jogging. I'm jogging. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. I've not had a season in my life where I didn't play sports. Really pushing it and being the best in the team. All those skills that I obtained in all other sports, I mean, the hand-eye coordination in baseball, toughest group on campus, the toughness from wrestling, the balance from wrestling. I can now use all those skills and all those abilities in fighting. And I don't think John ever fought anyone with my sports IQ. He's fought wrestlers, he's fought strikers who can never have this.
UFC light heavyweight champion John Jones is preparing for his 15th consecutive title fight and always studies his opponents in extraordinary detail. At times, he understands his adversaries on a deeper level than they may expect.
I don't really like people like Dominic, to be honest with you. He's always had it all. You know, he's always been the starter. He's always been the jock. He's always been the cool kid. He has his degrees. He thinks he's smarter than people. He thinks he's more athletic than people. And he's convinced himself that, you know, his common traits and all athletes are somehow different now. Newsflash, we're all believable athletes.
The octagon is a crucible for showcasing athletic ability. Where for years, Jones has put on a magnificent display.
Jones has got real unorthodox striking. Takes Jones last one. He's got outstanding wrestling, great technique, great athleticism. Oh! He distance those kicks, and you can't hit him. Pretty substantial. John's left leg is so dynamic. Another example of crazy and unpredictable. John Jones in it.
The most perplexing movement in sports history.
That is a brilliant move.
Was never discovered.
That's what he's doing. He's switching up the kicks. He goes low, he goes high, he goes knee, he goes elbow. Different looks always. Each strike sets up the next one.
But oncoming challengers continue to exert their confidence.
Before I was booked to fight John, I would watch his fights just as a fan.
John showed good forward too here. Well, science switches stance. Alex is on it right now, keeping the pace like he needs to, keeping the pressure.
I didn't really delve into his little techniques or his mistakes or everything that was going on. I would just watch and enjoy the fights.
2 minutes gone on here in round one. Oh, lead elbow from Jones lands.
And a nice sweep kick to the body as well.
I think he's one of the greatest ever for a reason. I watch the film and that becomes more and more evident.
Good entry here by Jones. He gets his first takedown.
It also becomes more and more evident that he's just a man.
John is not enjoying going backwards constantly like this.
Just like any of us, man. Just a man. And there's many ways to beat him. And I'm here to make that happen.
The more I watch film, the more I realize how much work this is going to be. This is going to be fun.
Dominic, 2.5 years from UFC debut to now fighting the man that many say is the greatest of all time. What's the feeling like at this moment?
I'm pumped, man. I've worked extremely hard to get here. I'm completely different than anybody he's ever faced.
Everyone's undefeated before they fight. especially Dominic.
Oh, I'm the one. Promise you. When I went on stage with him, there was an air of insecurity all over his body, and I was just like, what the heck is going on? Like, this is supposed to be the guy.
Bro, I want to get you. I'm going to get you, Dominic.
All right. Listen, you know it. He looked into my eyes and saw that I was down. It bothers him. It really bothers him because I'm not taking a step back. I don't care what you did before. What matters is what happens on February 8th. I'm in his head.
Since I've been 23 years old, I had to teach myself how to look some of those Englishmen in the eyes and let them know that I'm here.
This confidence, this is what comes from being the youngest ever UFC champion and defended several times.
So, some guy who's a football player is thinking that I'm afraid. I find it hysterical.
Hey, John, hold that bell, baby. Let's go. What I see here is somebody who's just ready to go do his job. Oh, my goodness, it's over.
He feels the power of just being in this fight. He's more famous than he's ever been.
Dominic Reyes putting on a show.
For a lot of fighters, this is making it. You're fighting against someone who's the best fighter ever. It gives you this energy that you always want, even though you're having a long time. I can win the title. This is a big bonus to dominate.
Bring it back to the best light heavyweights to ever compete, all fell to the great John Jones.
So man against boys. I mean, this is just the story of every John Jones fight.
But Reyes remains fearless on the brink of his chance to rewrite history at UFC 247.
You win all these fights, you know these people. Now it's time for you to get a taste of your medicine. And it's time for you to go.
Is this his moment?
The world's leading MMA promotion is expanding its footprint in Las Vegas, Nevada. And the latest addition to the UFC's growing campus is the Apex. Home to an arena that accommodates its Contender Series, as well as a brand new training center, which supplements the nearby Performance Institute.
It's very proud of a different feel than over. I figured you would like it.
I like it already.
Just less people and it's just training here. So Performance Institute was so popular that it became, a little bit of a victim of its own success, and we need a little more space. This is as nice as the rings that they fight in, like Mandalay Bay and such. The Apex here is the one across the street, so that way we can truly have people that are going to fight each other and never come in contact with each other.
It's me.
There you go. It's awesome.
It's very amazing because there is not much people and you can train and work your technique as much as you want.
So this is the 30-foot actual, full octagon.
Yes.
So we have the one over there. But then, I know you like to train around the time you fight too, so they can come over here and use this octagon around the time as well. That's the 25th anniversary, the one in Denver.
It is also real blood on it, right? It's beautiful. It has everything. The ring, the octagon, mats, wall. So I will be back here very soon.
UFC flyweight champion Valentina Shevchenko is one of the many fighters who have permanently relocated to Las Vegas for the amenities that have become so readily accessible. And such perfected training grounds are an ideal backdrop for athletes like Shevchenko.
have to dominate everything. Have to be perfect boxer.
Shevchenko's far more technical as a striker. She's very difficult to get clean. Look at that. You can't just uncork on her. She's not going to be there for that. She's going to make adjustments.
With your legs, you have to be the perfect Muay Thai fighter.
It's very difficult to attack Shevchenko because she's such a good counter striker. And she can do so many different things.
Appreciate all the patience out there. Thank you all very much. UFC 247 Jones versus Reyes. 3 or so more sleeps until it all goes down on pay-per-view. We are still waiting on Jon Jones, but we're going to bring out 2 athletes right now with definite, he'll be here, Johnny Bones will be here, but we got to bring out a couple athletes with definite ties to your fine city. So right now, pound for pound, one of the most popular fighters on the UFC roster today, and man, does he own this H-Town when it comes to the UFC, fighting out of Houston, Texas, USA. Let's hear it for the perennial heavyweight contender, the Black Beast, Derek Lewis.
What go down?
All right, now it is my honor to welcome the reigning, defending, undisputed UFC flyweight champion of the world. Saturday night, she will go for a 5th straight win overall and a 3rd successive defense of her flyweight title. Please welcome the one, the only, Valentina "Bullet" Shevchenko. All right, Houston, these are 2 of your people right here. We're going to get to some of these fan questions first, and then we will open it up to the media, and time permitting, we'll have some fan time on the back end. All right, let us get to it. All right, this one comes from J. Bren 11. We will start with you, Valentina. In terms of Caitlin, who do you think is the most impressive win on her resume to this point? Any of her wins in the past that maybe have impressed you?
You know, it's never was my goal to search this information. Everything that I needed from her and from her fights,
right,
and to see her style. Not impressed by her, not doing like something crazy things, just her style and her technique, nothing more.
Derek Lewis, this is your city, my man. I know these fans have been waiting a long time to see you back here competing at Toyota Center. You will kick off the pay-per-view main card. It's got to feel pretty good, my man. I know you fought all over the world, but nothing quite like Houston for you.
Yeah, for sure. I love Houston, everything about Houston. Even though the wishy-washy weather, I love Houston, man.
Yeah, Houston clearly loves you. This one comes from Hunnit Sports for Valentina. Do you consider yourself the best female fighter in the world at this time?
I don't know. I just do my things that what I love to do, because martial arts for me it's my life, my passion. And if people considering me like this, I have more something that motivate me to continue my hard trainings.
All right, another question here for Bullet Valentina. This one from Matthew Lowe, 25. You can fight, shoot guns, you can dance, speak multiple languages, you can draw, you can paint, you can play the ukulele. and you're about to make your acting debut alongside Halle Berry. Is there anything in life that you are not good at?
I don't know. I just want to learn more and more every time. I think we have to not waste our time in life and just my one of my favorites movie and one of the favorites image of person how they should be. It's James Bond. Why people likes him? Because he can everything. He can fly plane. He can drive car, motorcycle. He can do whatever. And this is what motivates me to do and continue the same way what I am doing.
You truly are a Renaissance woman, no doubt about it. Derek Lewis, you will fight Ilir Latifi moving up to the heavyweight division. I know you're not one who gets all long-winded in terms of the matchup, but any thoughts on Latifi moving up and what type of fight might be coming your way here in a few days?
Shit, I'm looking for the knockout in the first round. But yeah, it's gonna be, I have to put on for Houston. You know, we've been through a lot with all the flooding and all that. And so I gotta come in swinging and banging in the first round.
Well, I'm sure a lot of these people know that Derek Lewis has never lost in the state of Texas. His entire pro career, I think 7-0, all across this great state of yours, and he's never lost. Don't you think this walk's going to feel different, though? Doesn't it feel different walking out in Houston than other places?
Not at all. I feel right at home. You know, I had more fights in the streets here than anywhere else.
Yeah.
So I feel right at home.
Yeah, probably undefeated in the streets as well.
For sure.
All right, with that, let us open it up to the media as we await the UFC light heavyweight champion, John Morgan, MMA Junkie. Kick us off.
The support here is pretty incredible that you've seen already. Are there any drawbacks? I mean, I'm sure you got to do a lot more media. I'm sure people are hitting you up for tickets and family members you didn't even know you had reaching out to you. I mean, are there any drawbacks to being here?
No, I knew months ahead to change my number and cut a lot of people off. You know, I cut a lot of family members off because they kept trying to explain to me that they're my cousin, neighbor, from my mama's side and all that. I'm not trying to hear that. You're not getting no tickets.
Fair enough. And I did want to ask you about that mentality walking in. You know, John kind of touched on it there. I imagine the energy's got to be there. You said you want to deliver. I mean, is there like a mindset that you have to not overcommit, to not, overreach and try to do something spectacular and just kind of let the fight unfold?
Yeah, just let the fight unfold. I'm going to fight the same like I do any other fight. Everybody know if I'm not going to get him out of there in the first round, I'll get him out there in the last 2 seconds of the fight.
Nice. And Derek, I got to imagine you're going to have a pretty significant size advantage. I mean, Ilir is a much smaller guy moving up, but I mean, do you foresee that giving you any troubles? I mean, could his size be a disadvantage for you in any way?
Not at all, because he's a little guy. Just about everybody in the division is up and down, so it don't matter. We're all the same size when we lay down, so I'm pretty sure he's going to try to take me down.
Nice. Valentin, I wanted to ask you, I know you said you were kind of looking at the style and the technique of
Sorry
Caitlin.
about that. I didn't see y'all right there, my bad.
When you looked at Caitlin, when you broke down her fights, I mean, is there anything unique that she does that you haven't seen before, or anything that you saw that said, hey, this is one thing I've got to be really, really careful about in this fight?
The fight is fight. You have to be really careful about everything. Doesn't matter who you faced. And this is my mentality that to make the fight easy, you have to train harder than anyone. And I know Caitlin, she's hoping that her reach and her height's gonna help her during the fight, but she's mistaken. She's mistaken a lot. And I know exactly what to expect from her. I know exactly how to manage the distance. And yeah, I'm ready for the Saturday. It's gonna be my night, of course.
And one more for you, Valentin. I mean, you're becoming an awfully dominant champion, and I don't think a lot of contenders necessarily right there ready for you. I mean, what do you want to do next after you win this fight? I mean, do you see other contenders that are ready for you, or do you look at changing divisions, or asking the strawweight champ to move up, or whatever? I mean, what do you see for your immediate future?
It's like interesting things happen that I don't have to ask no one to do nothing because they want to fight with me. I don't know what people are saying about super fight. I have many options to choose. Amanda Nunes, Chinese girl Bailey, or Henry Cejudo, I don't know.
Hey, Valentina, first one down here. So you're the James Bond, I guess, of women's MMA. Do you want to do movies? 'Cause I know that you have that movie coming out with Halle Berry, but is that something you want to do, maybe going to Hollywood later on?
University, what I finished, it's a University of Arts, and my career is film director. So, of course, definitely in the future, I would love to see me over there. And if it's gonna be movie, they're gonna make like about James Bond, but female version, I will be first in the line for this movie.
You think you'd be a better Black Widow than Scarlett Johansson?
It's very different. I'm considering that my professional fighter career, it's like very important for me, and it's like it's real what we are like making right now. It's very like so hard living the life what the fighters are living, and it's take a lot of energy. That's why all my focus right now it's in the training and to make myself better as a fighter each day.
There's been a conversation lately about, who have been the best women's MMA fighters of all time, Ronda Rousey, Chris Cyborg, Amanda Nunes. Do you feel like you're in that conversation, and what do you think you have to do to kind of keep yourself and kind of cement yourself in that conversation to be one of the best ever?
I don't care about the conversation. I just do my things. I win the fight, and this is it.
Can you explain to us why you changed the hair?
No, the hair, it's because of movie. It's because of the movie what I was participating with Halle Berry. My character was a red hair, so I just keep it for a while.
Seems to be pretty popular. Last thing, recently the country you're from, Kyrgyzstan, was added to the travel restriction list to the United States. Do you have any opinion on that? Do you know why that happened, and any thoughts on that?
Actually, I was too deep in the training camps and was very hard training, but I can say for sure that people from my country, they are every time very honest, and they are like, probably it was, I heard something, it's about the biometrics, something like this. It's more not about the people, it's more about the technology, that probably we don't have, Kyrgyzstan still don't have the technologies that USA using, like for all this stuff. But I would say exactly that Kyrgyz people, they are very noble, very good people, and they are everything that they are doing with a lot of heart.
Thanks, Valentina. Derek. Alir was up here earlier, and he's moving up in weight. He said that the recent weight cuts, he had to cut up to like 35 pounds to get on 205. I'm curious, how much have you had to cut? Like, what's the worst weight cut you've had? How many pounds?
I didn't have to cut none this fight. A fight before this, I didn't have to cut, but rest of my career, I had to cut like 30 pounds. So, yeah.
They pulled your microphone because we are now going to say hello to one of the greatest of all time, best light heavyweight on the planet, #1 pound-for-pound fighter in the world today, chasing more history Saturday night. Please welcome the light heavyweight champion, Johnny Bones Jones.
Hey guys, I am so sorry I'm late. The UFC, they had me doing a whole media tour like right before I got here. I was doing interviews, so I'm just trying to sell this fight and do my job, and it kind of overlapped. So I am here, and it's good to see your beautiful Texan faces. All right.
How are you holding up to the media grind? Because I feel like I saw you on TV like 14 hours ago, and here you are still going strong.
Yeah, John, and it's been a long day for sure. Sure, it's been a long day, but dude, my job is to do what the UFC asked me. So I've been trying to do my best and do as much media as possible, and I'm still working.
You are still working. Well, we're going to get you out of here.
2 workouts tonight, so yeah. It's
couple workouts tonight. All right, we got a few fan questions from Twitter, and then we'll get back to the media questions, and time permitting, some love for the fans on the way out. This one from Elliot_John Jones. He's got your name in his handle, so he's a big fan.
All right.
Wants to know, and you've been asked this a lot this week, what is next for you after this? Ultimately, what are you looking to do over the next year?
Hey, so real quick, I got booed a little bit when I walked out here, right? So if you are here to support me, I got some gifts, so I want everybody to support me to kind of make it over this way, okay? Walk right on over this way if you're here to support me. I got some really great gifts. Oh, there we go. Look at that. All right, smart guys. All right. There we go. All right. Get over there.
Yeah, he's got to get over with that T-shirt.
With that T-shirt, you might want to be on this side. All right. Now look at that army over there. I appreciate you guys so much. Woo! Let's go.
Got the whole team aligned now.
Oh yeah, that looks about right. All right.
In terms of the heavyweight division, and obviously one of your fans, that's what he's sort of alluding to. You talked about it on ESPN this morning, that it stands to reason it might be easier for you in some respects when you do move up. But how soon could that realistically happen in your mind?
You know, at the end of the day, I feel like if it's not broke, don't fix it. And so much has been going right in the light heavyweight division. I feel like there's always going to be great competition as long as guys are dreaming and aspiring to achieve great things, and it's going to be my job to stay where I'm at and to be a dream killer in a way. I got a lot of more years at the light heavyweight division, but I'm also excited to challenge myself. I know at the end of the day, it's about the fans. It's about giving the fans what they want. And unlike boxing sometimes, you guys like that? Unlike boxing sometimes they hold off great fights, like, you know, Mayweather and Pacquiao. That fight waited too long, right? You know, so I want to be a part of giving the fans what they want when they want it. And so if you guys are desiring me to go to the heavyweight division, then I think the UFC is going to fill that demand, and we're going to make it happen.
15th consecutive championship fight for John Jones here Saturday night, by the way. Next one here from Barnesy. For Johnny Bones, how do you plan on taking away Reyes' counter game?
You know, by not really giving him what he wants. You know, at the end of the day, the guys who get knocked out by Dominic, they're usually caught lunging in, right? And they're usually lunging in with boxing. And if you watch my fights, I'm not one to use my hands too much. You know, I jab when the time is necessary, but I'm more of a kicker. And I haven't really seen him deal with a kicker like me. So, you know, I know how guys are getting caught. He slips really well, and he fires back with lefts really well. And I'm not going to give him what he wants.
Yeah. All right, let us now open it up.
You might want to get on this side over there.
Yeah, we need Team Johns
There's
to make.
More room. All right. I'm going to give you guys some love. Don't worry about it.
By the way, we should acknowledge.
But most of the love's going to be on that side, just so you know. I might just even turn my chair like this over here.
We should acknowledge all of you Houston folks who have come far and wide, many of whom were outside, yes, at 4 o'clock this afternoon.
Wow.
That is not lost on us. We appreciate it.
I love you guys, really I do. Even the haters, I love you guys too, very, very much.
Got a 245 over there. All right, let's get some questions here from the media. Mark Raimondi, fire away, kid.
Thanks, John. Back to Derek. Sorry, we got interrupted earlier. I was actually curious. John's talking about going up to heavyweight a lot. Obviously, you fight at heavyweight. How do you think he would do?
You troublemaker.
No, not at all. Not at all.
What's the question again?
How do you think John Jones would do at heavyweight?
I think he'll do good. You know, the division is wide open. It's a lot of easy fights out there for him. And it's going to be entertaining to watch.
And then for John, Valentina was asked about you on the conference call yesterday. It was very complimentary. So I was curious, what do you think about Valentina? You know, what she's done, her style. What are your opinions on her fighting?
Well, I'm a huge fan of Valentina. You know, she's a woman that supports the Second Amendment. And I know you guys, you Texans, you love the Second Amendment, right? It doesn't get much more badass than that, right? I mean, everything about her, you know, the way that she's sharing her culture with America, with the traditional dancing, her work ethic. I mean, she beat one of my dearest friends, Holly, and I know that's not an easy task. She's a tremendous champion. I got to take a picture with her earlier, and I was truly honored. So I have nothing but high praise for Valentina.
And then one more thing for me, Dominic Reyes was here up here earlier, of course, and he was asked about your boxing, and he said that he feels like that's something that he could exploit, he can capitalize, he thinks that he's a better boxer than you. Your thoughts on that?
Have you seen his mitt work? No? He has a tremendous left hand. I'm sure he's going to work hard on his right hand, especially because I've brought it up so much. But my job is not to go out there and get in a boxing match. You know, shout out to my boxing coach, Aaron Seriano, my other boxing coach, Brandon Gibson, my kickboxing coach, Mike Winklejohn, and my new Muay Thai coach, Alex, over there. And you guys can clap for Alex, too. I know you guys don't know him. He's the funny guy with the mustache. But Alex, stand up, the funny-looking fella. There he is. But my job is not to go out there and get in a boxing match. My job is to be the better mixed martial arts fighter. Like I said, I'm very aware that his best counters come in boxing combinations, and I'm not going to give him what he wants. You know what I mean? It's going to be a mixed martial arts fight.
All right, John over here.
Go ahead, KJ.
What's up, man?
How much do you think your experience being on this stage 15 times in a row since you were 21, how much do you think that's going to be played on Saturday when Dominic gets in those deep waters, where it's like another day at the office for you?
Yeah, well, you know, there's a part of it that feels like another day in the office, but at the end of the day, every fight's brand new, and everyone has a puncher's chance, you know what I mean? Anything can happen out there, and I'm very aware of that. My job is to make his chances extremely slim through hard work, faith, focus, surrounding myself with the right people. But yeah, experience, it's a factor for a reason, you know? You know, he wants to make age a part of this conversation. He wants to make race a part of this conversation, and it's not about any of that. It's about you know, work ethic and who earned being here. And I feel like there's nothing coincidental or lucky about being a champion of an organization for over a decade. It's all based on hard work. So my experience will definitely play a huge factor in this fight. I don't think he's ever been 5 rounds before, and I've seen 3-round fights where he starts to slow down. So, and that's not going to work with me. Everyone knows that I pick it up. Every round I get with you, I pick it up. I mean, I feel like after the 3-minute mark, you know, his chances of getting knockouts dramatically decreases. He's well studied, and we've taken him very seriously. And I think one thing that makes our team so strong is our ability to study our opponents, and experience is going to play a big factor. You guys will see.
Do you think you need that belt at heavyweight to be the unquestioned GOAT, since it's always this conversation, back and forth barbershop talk, but if you get that second belt at heavyweight, regardless of who the champion is, will that make you the unquestioned GOAT of MMA?
I mean, that will be you guys' opinion. What do you guys think? You know, at the end of the day, you know, to be considered the best, DC, stop. Who said that? Someone slap yourself. Who said that? Hey, I think it's always going to be an opinion. You know what I mean? I just got to continue to strive to be in that conversation. When you think about the greatest fighter of all time, it's a lot of different things that go into it. It can be skill set. It can be the way they carry themselves. It can be, you know, Conor McGregor, the way what a great businessman he is, and what a good guy for the sport. You know, it can be, you know, the way you give back to humanity. There's so many things that makes you great, and so as long as I'm always in the conversation, I'm happy.
Next question for Valentina. How does it feel to be at such a level when you know that your opponents need their personal best just to compete with you?
You know, for me, it's just like everything what I do, it's because I love to do martial arts. And I don't know, I just, every day when I come to the training, I'm trying to focus to perform myself and to learn something new, to be better. I never stop. And I just, it's my mindset do everything and be the best. And everyone, I heard a lot, they are saying, okay, we come to the fight, we are here to enjoy the fight, right? But I don't know how you can enjoy the fight, how you really can enjoy when someone hit you in the face, yeah? And I think that if I go inside of the octagon, I here only for the victory, nothing else.
Final question for Black Beast. I need that new number, by the way.
Nah, I don't mess with you.
Oh man, you don't messed up now.
I got you.
What's gonna be your walkout here in Houston? Big Pokey, Paul Wall, Swisher House.
Might come out to my boy Trader True right there.
Hey.
But also, it's been 22 years since Fat Pat died. So I'll probably come out to Top's Drop. So I don't know yet. We'll see.
John, right here. In one of the commercials, you said something like Dominic Reyes is trying to prove he belongs here, and you as yourself, you won the championship at 23. So I'm curious, at what point did you feel that you belonged here, standing across from these legends?
Yeah, I don't remember saying anything about him. Do you guys have any water? My balls
Yes.
are hot. I had to, dude. I say it to you every time I see you. I got my kids in the front row. Sorry, girls.
It's all good.
I had
But
to.
you know, I heard that I'm the only athlete here, though.
Say it again.
I'm the only athlete here.
The only-
That's what Reyes said.
Is that what he said?
Nah.
I mean, you're a tremendous athlete, man. Aren't you in the running for the most knockouts in heavyweight history?
Yeah. This fight right here.
Houston's own, guys. Houston's own, man.
This fight right here should be the most knockouts.
I'm proud to consider you a buddy, man. That's epic. That's history. I'm sorry, what was the question again?
It's basically, when did you feel you belonged inside the octagon, standing across from these legends?
You know, honestly, it was after I won my very first fight. You know, like to go from a small town and to feel like a very average young man, which I am, and which the way I felt. To making it to the UFC was like a dream come true. I realized that people from a small town could do extraordinary things. It was a dream come true. And then to beat one UFC fighter, I feel like it humanized every UFC fighter. And that's when I realized that I can do it. That I was enough to be a person that could be great. And now my beliefs are that you know, we all bleed. If you can beat one UFC fighter, you can beat any UFC fighter. And so it started with my very first fight, man. When I heard, and the winner is Johnny Bones Jones, and I got to raise my hand for the first time, I decided that I would fly and try to never come down.
And then, since the passing of Kobe Bryant and his daughter, the hashtag #GirlDad was trending across social media. You yourself fall into that category. So I'm curious, like, what does Girl Dad mean to you?
Girl, stand up real quick for me. Guys, these are my daughters right here. They are super shy. You guys can sit down. Their beautiful mother, Jessie, and my mother-in-law, Sheila. So I am a girl dad, and I love it, man. They say that little girls grow up to take care of their dad forever. And I'm surrounded by little girls, and I know that I'm gonna be in good hands for the rest of my life. When I'm old and crazy, I tell them they better stop by and cook me a meal and check on me, make sure I got clean laundry, right? Make sure I got a lot of love. So being a girl dad is awesome. Obviously, I want a son so bad, but these girls are more than plenty. They're gonna do extraordinary things with their lives, and I'm just excited to see the way they turn out. I'm a blessed man to have so much love around me.
One final one for both of the champions. John, a lot's been made on your consecutive title defenses in Valentino. You've stated numerous times you want to rack up title defenses. So what is more important, growing as a martial artist, or just winning inside the octagon and continuing that streak?
I think it's growing. You know, it's growing at the end of the day. You know, I feel like, you know, Dominic said something on Instagram, and you can take it two ways. He said being a champion isn't about winning the belt. And it's about the person you become in life, and it's about having love and things like that. And I totally agree with that. The other half of me feels like that's his way of preparing himself for a defeat. But at the end of the day, being a martial artist, what it means to me is being aware that there's so many things we can work on, whether that's, you know, in your relationship, whether it's as a father, as an athlete. It just basically means that, you know, there's, you know, I say a black belt is a black belt because they know how much they don't know yet. And I truly stand here as a guy who has so much more to learn about life. So, yeah, you definitely shouldn't, you know, there's people who's lost several times and they'll be champions until the day they die. So it's really not about winning or losing. It's about the journey. It's about self-improvement.
John, it's this little back and forth rivalry, if you will, with Dominic Reyes has been a little bit unexpected, but it's been pretty entertaining as well. Do you remember the moment you were like, I don't like this guy? Like, what was it?
When he mentioned party favorites and that he wanted the belt and not party favorites, I just felt like it was a very immature way to go about things. I mean, it's like you're knocking out everybody, so you obviously have the attention of myself in the UFC. There's no need to bring up my past. It was just a silly way, an immature way, honestly, to get this thing all started off. It didn't help him get the fight. The reason why I chose to give him this opportunity was because he's knocked out everyone, and he's the scariest other guy in the world that I haven't fought yet. So yeah, he got this fight. Well, he started this fight being just completely immature, and now that I've gotten back at him, you know, acknowledging that he has stinky breath. That's factual. You know, you ask his camp, ask his. It's factual. Ask Dana White. And then just calling him on his stuff, like, you know, saying he's the best Apple Valley athlete and how he's considered himself the best athlete that I've ever faced. I mean, that's insulting to everyone I've ever faced. What does that even mean? You know, how are we all not athletes? You know what I mean? Like, just to make the UFC roster, you have to be an extraordinary athlete. So yeah, the moment I realized that this guy was a little bit of a clown was when he won his fight and he mentioned party favorites right away. It was just immature.
Did you ever think you'd find yourself in a position to be calling somebody immature?
No. No, quite frankly, no. No. And I'm probably still not in a position to be calling anybody else immature, but I'm a work in progress, I guess.
Nice. I know you and your team are meticulous.
No, that was a little jab. Man.
That was fun. You know, it's fun.
Ryan always doing that.
Somebody boo this man. Thank you, guys. I love you guys.
Hey, John, I know that you and your team are meticulous about breaking people down, game plans, that sort of thing. So your personal dislike for him aside, anything as an athlete you look at and say, like, this guy's got something?
Yeah, he does, man. He has some power. He has power. We can't deny that. I've seen him kick people in the head and knock them out. I've seen him drop people with that left, and you gotta respect it. At the end of the day, I can sit in front of you guys and act like I got it all in the bag, you know. But at the end of the day, you don't know what's gonna happen out there. Anything can happen out there. So I just gotta respect him tremendously, which I have. We've done everything possible that we can do to be strong mentally, spiritually, physically for this fight, and. Yeah, he's a worthy opponent. This fight is definitely worth tuning into. Anytime you get a guy with the type of knockout power he has, it's worth tuning into.
Last thing for me, John.
He does tickle my pickle. This is true.
Last thing for me, John. I mean, you're saying, hey, listen, you'll do whatever the fans want to see. But let me ask you. I mean, you've got all these records, and people call you the greatest of all time. I mean, what do you want to accomplish before you call it a day, before you hang it up? I mean, what is on the list that you want to check off before you're done?
You know, honestly, I don't think it has anything to do with fighting anymore. You know, I wanna get things together, like in a way where you know, my daughters can be extremely proud of me when I walk away from this. You know, I wanna use some of my influence to help people, to start giving back. You know, I've lived selfishly for a long time, and as a fighter, fighting at this level especially, you have to be selfish. But I'm starting to get to a place where I'm realizing that this platform is way more about championship belts, way more about rubies on your belts. Yeah, it's about, what are you doing for somebody else? Are you being an example? Are you being a role model? Are you giving back? Are you encouraging people? And I'm starting to really transition into that type of person. So that's what I want more than another title. That's what I want more than the heavyweight title, is to walk away and people say, this guy came, saw, and conquered, and he made this world somewhat better. That's what I really want.
John, right here, just to piggyback off what you just said there, I mean, how important is it to have your girls here and see you setting this type of example? And at what point was there maybe a change in mentality to know that you're a role model, people look up to you, and that you need to represent yourself in the best possible way?
Yeah, just all the time that I've spent, in suspension and not being respected because of some of my behaviors. I think that was really my wake-up call. And potential and talent's the worst thing to waste. When you found your passion, it's the worst thing to waste. And I think it's very important for my daughters to be here, to see their dad at work. I never let them come see my fights. The Alexander Gustafsson fight taught me that maybe they shouldn't be in attendance. But things like this are things that they can be a part of, and I think it's really empowering for them and everybody here to know that all three of us up here are very, very average people from small towns who are, Derek especially, he's from here, and he's one of you guys, and if he can be up here making his dreams come true, why can't you guys? So that's the motivation.
And of course, you've had your little back and forth with Dominic and stuff, but does that maturity also play into the fact that you can put that stuff aside and give him the opportunity because you think he's the top contender? And I know Corey Anderson had the little thing at the Fitness Expo in New Jersey and stuff, but it's part of that maturity. You can put all the stuff to the side and take on the biggest challenge because that's what is best for your career.
It's the right thing to do. It's what the fans want to see. They want to see me. If I'm not going to go heavyweight, I got to fight the guy that everyone thinks can win, and I think he's the next guy that people think can win. Everyone was really excited about Johnny Walker for a while, and he got derailed by Corey Anderson. But Corey Anderson, he doesn't really finish people. You know what I mean? He did finish Johnny, but he's not a finisher. And I think fighting me for 5 rounds, you saw what happened to DC, the guy whose slogan was "Embrace the grind." I outgrinded him. So I'm not afraid of a guy that's going to try to outwork me. It's more intimidating to fight a guy that can knock your lights out. And so I'm giving the fans what they want is to see me in a dangerous spot. And what was your question? What was the other question?
No, that was basically
that was it.
Answer. And,
and emotion aside, I'm very aware through all these years of fighting some of the most dangerous guys and some of the best talkers like Rampage Jackson and these guys that are gonna really get under your skin, Rashad Evans. I know that emotion won't do anything for me on Saturday night. So, like I said, I didn't take this fight because he insulted me. He can say anything about me that he wants. I can say anything about him that I want. And at the end of the day, it won't make a difference on Saturday night. It's going to be who has their head together, who's more prepared mentally, physically, to get the job done. And I believe that's me and our team.
And last thing for me, we'll see what happens with the heavyweight stuff, but there is, a very important light heavyweight fight just next week in New Mexico, not far from Albuquerque. Will you be going to watch Corey and Jan fight, in person?
I think I may be taking my family on a little vacation, to be honest with you. If we're in town, then more than likely I'll go, but that, I can watch it on TV and still get a lot out of it.
Any idea who you think wins?
I think Corey will win. I think he's a little bit more versatile, and he appears to have this chip on his shoulder that I want to chew up.
Thank you. Love the sweater, by the way.
Oh, thank you. I wasn't going to wear it, but my other shirt got all ruined, and I'm like, okay, forget it. So I feel like a bumblebee up here. But anyways.
Johnny Bones, you've beat a lot of legends in this sport to date. Who's been your toughest opponent so far from a physical standpoint?
I would have to say between Alexander Gustafsson and Thiago Santos. They both pushed me tremendously.
One of your idols is Muhammad Ali. If he was still alive today, what would you ask him in a conversation?
How can a man be so brave? He was so brave. He stood up for so much. He was confident in a time that it was dangerous to be too confident. He said no to our government about going to war. He was willing to put his freedom on the line to stand for what he believed in, and just so brave, so brave. I aspire to be that type of man and stand by my beliefs in the same way.
Valentina, you and your sister Antonina have some of the best open workouts, some electrifying moves, great leg dexterity. The last time you were fighting in Chicago, put on a show. Do you like this open panel question format better than the open workouts?
It's different. It's very different. Here I'm sitting, not using much energy, and there I have to work, sweat. I would say I enjoy both. But of course I would love to share like a scenario with my sister and to let people know a little bit more about Muay Thai Sisters Power Workout.
Lastly, Black Beast, underneath that hoodie, you look good. Your diet's on point. What took you so long to discover Whole Foods?
Shit, I heard they had chicken feet there, so I had to go check it out.
All right, is that it from the media? All right, let us hear it once more, folks. The champions, Johnny Bones Jones, Valentina Shevchenko, and Houston's finest, the Black Beast, Derek Lewis. The athletes will congregate over there for a few minutes if you want to try to get some pictures, but beyond that, we thank you all graciously for coming out for a few hours today. Any final words, champ?
Yes, we have one of our local rappers stand up, my brother.
Trey the True.
What up, Trey? So listen, Trey is known in Houston for giving back to this community. I think that's well documented. And before this press conference started, he gave us some of his new products, myself and Derek Lewis, to give to you fans. He wanted to use our platform to ultimately continue to give, and I'm like, I'm all about it. So I have two. You want to talk about the product a little bit? Do you mind?
No, whatever you want to do.
Come up, Trey. Yo, these things are awesome, by the way. Freaking awesome.
Trey, you want to come grab this mic, my man?
Give it up for your own, Houston.
You done put me on the spot. H-Town, what go down in here, man? But nah, like Johnny was saying, man, at the end of the day, it's just about giving back. So early, I pulled up on him and Derek. For those who don't know, Derek, my brother, man, definitely represent Houston to the fullest. And I'm a fan of both of them just like y'all. And it's always important to give back. So what I did, I actually gave them a few bump boxes, which is, one of the loudest Bluetooth radios. You've seen it on The Price is Right. You see Dave Chappelle with them all the time. The Kansas City Chiefs was in their locker room with it, but I'm actually one of the owners of the company, and I represent Houston, Texas. So it's only right we give back. So I wanted to make sure John and Derek get back to the fans, because at the end of the day, it's about y'all supporting them. And stuff like that is what keep us going, as far as the music, as far as the fighting and everything else. So we appreciate y'all, and right now it's just about y'all. Much love to the UFC.
Well played. Man knows his way around a microphone. All right, Houston, thank you all very much. John Jones,
All
Valentina Shevchenko, and the Black Beast, Derek Lewis. We'll see you all Saturday night.
I got to figure out a way to give these to two lucky audience members. And I have no clue how I'm gonna do this.
Who the loudest?
Okay, let's start. Okay, so let's hear the loudest boos again, guys. Oh, fair enough. I'll get off the mic and I'll figure out a way to give it to you guys. Maybe someone that brought a kid. Can we do that? I see a young lady in the very front row. I see it with the camouflage. Okay, and then I see a little man too. And then how about this? Since I can't give one to everybody, I'm gonna stay for like an hour. And I'm gonna do a full-on autograph signing for this side of the room. And you guys, you haters are more than welcome to join this side of the room as well. How about that? All right, so young lady, if you wanna come up, and the little man with the dad above him, you wanna come up and receive your Houston-owned product.
Yeah, it's good, man.
And these things even have like karaoke and all that. It's like, they're really, really cool. so loud. Yes, sir. The young lady, she had a camel jacket on. Oh, duh. Hey, I thought you were a young lady. How old are you? Oh, she's 17. That's kind of nice. Courtesy of dog. I hope you enjoy it. You might want to use two hands. Absolutely. Yeah, hey, how about you get in the middle? Let's take a picture. Derek. Guys, let's all get a picture. I gotta show you how loud this thing gets. It's pretty loud. All right, don't judge my music selection. You guys like Rascal Flatts, though? Bring out, where's the little guy? Oh, right in front of me. How you doing, man? It's nice to meet you. What's your name? Fabian, it's nice to meet you, man. Can you name?
We're a lot on the beat.
Where you at, bro? Come on, bro. What are your moves, bro? There you go. I hope you enjoy it. All right. And listen to lots of clean music on it, all right? Good times. All right, guys, I'm going to do a little autograph signing over here.
Sorry about the booze, John.
That was fun. I couldn't let the opportunity pass. That's too good.
I may have joined in the mob. I'm sorry. It took mentality to